Yes, sir.
Yes, Dada.
Yes. Okay. So today we're gonna start with uh, vulnerability category. Okay, or bug category. Bug and vuln category. So as we know that while you're doing bug bounty or web pen testing, okay, we are getting vulnerabilities. Okay, so that vulnerability could be depend on the class like critical, high, okay, medium, low, informational, okay, like this. So there is a category in total the bug formats. Okay, suppose uh, there are list of bugs like SQL injection. Okay, second is like suppose cross-site scripting. Okay, third is suppose RCE. Fourth is support OS injection. Okay, so this sort of bugs, okay, have different categories. Okay, in basis of score. So that score rating, or you can say that is known as CVSS rating or CVSS scoring. CVSS scoring. So the format of numbering known as CVSS scoring. Okay. So if someone says you that you have found a SQL injection bug and what category it have to be. Okay. So in SQL injection, we can do is DDoS attack. Okay, or we can do database enumeration, DB enumeration. Yeah, or we can upload OS shell. Okay, so this sort of bug could be able to find from SQL injection. So if you found SQL injection DDoS in SQL injection, so it would be like high. Okay, if you found DB enumeration, it have to be critical, like you are able to get the database. If you are doing OS, if you are getting OS shell, it have to be exceptional. Okay, so it depends on the severity of the bugs. Okay, now how you are actually getting idea that which one is a high, which one is critical, which is exceptional. Okay, it depends on CVSS scoring. Okay, so CVS scoring have to be from 1 to 10. Okay, so the bug numbering have to be 1 to 10. So we have to rate the bug we have found it. Okay, so we'll go through CVSS scoring, how to do scan and all. Okay, but before that we have to understood that there is a vulnerability category. Okay, so the category start with critical. Okay, then start with high, then start with medium, then to low, then there is info. Okay, so this is the category we have in pen testing. Okay, in web pen testing, suppose you're doing a VAPT. Okay, so you can't rate it as a number there. Okay, like number means that If it is a bug bounty, so it have to be P1 or P0. Okay, P0, P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5. Okay, so P0 is used for exceptional case. Okay, but P1 is the for critical only. Okay, P1 for critical, P2 for high, P3 is for medium, P4 is for low, and P5 is info. So if you are doing a web pen testing, okay, suppose you are done web pen testing, or you can say is VAPT. So there have to be mentioned about the bug what you are reporting, that it is a critical, high, medium, low, or info. But in bug bounty, there is different thing that you have to mention is P1 bug, P2 bug, P3 bug, P4 bug, or P5 bug. Probably you have seen that on HackerOne or Bugcrowd earlier. So that how they rank the bug categories. Okay. Now there are a lot of bugs available. Okay. So it depends on the scoring how it is impacting. Okay. So for that, a scoring factor comes, which is known as CVSS, which I already mentioned. So CVSS have new calculators. Okay, so CVSS have old is 2.0 calculator, then currently 3.0 use using, and the 4.0 is releasing soon in the next year. So this calculator actually help us to uh, do scoring on the vulnerability basis. Okay, so you get, if you have a just do search on Google that CVSS calculator 3.1. Okay, there you will find a lot of calculators. Okay, from different perspective. So there is a another one is Gate, which is by Chandan, made by github.io. Okay, so this project is very useful. Okay, it have some great graphical interface and other stuffs. If you use others, you can do that, but I prefer to use this one. Okay, suppose this cubug.com. Okay, it have the same thing, but it doesn't have any graphical intersection and all. So I'll say to use this one, so it will give you a total idea. So do you guys know CVSS calculator? So I will skip that if you know that. If you know, I have to continue. Hello. Do you know, Ashwin? Do you know that how CVSS calculator works?
Oh, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
So, okay. So suppose we have found a vulnerability, okay, which is supposed to be like, so not guessing with the vulnerability currently. Okay, we're guessing with the CVE. Okay, so I have talked about CVE earlier, that CV is a 0 day. Okay, and this 0 day help us to find different bug bounty programs to test with the exploit. Okay, so if I open this CVE and look for the information, what is that CVE type? Okay, so this is a CV 2024 21413. Okay, it is have a description that Microsoft Outlook remote code execution vulnerability. Okay, so there is a RCE in where in Microsoft Outlook. Okay, and you can see there is a three metrics: CVSS version 2.0, there is 3.0, and there is 4.0. So the current is, I have said already, the 3.0 is currently running. Okay, and soon it will be changed to 4.0. So as per CVS version 3.0, the base score comes around to 9.8 critical, and there is a vector. Okay, I'll give you a clarification of the vector, that how it is impacting. So if you hover your mouse on the vector section, so you will see that there is some base code 9.8 critical, and there is some impact score, there are exploitability score. Okay, so RCE means that we have a remote code execution on a software or in a service. So that means we can access the service or the software server directly through a code execution. Okay, now here is the calculator. So how we can do that? So if you, this is the attack vector. Okay, so if you found a vulnerability which affecting through network, okay, suppose you are using a web, okay, if you are using your laptop, okay, you have your laptop, okay, you're doing hacking, okay, and there is a server, okay, which is running continuously. So from your PC you are able to do exploit the thing, okay, or you can do the RCE. Okay, so they, so that is known as physic network. Okay, if there is adjacent, like it required some Bluetooth and physical or logical some networks, okay, so they're required to connect to a particular things through, suppose there is like BT Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or some logical link, and then you're able to connect that. So it is like adjacent. After that there is local means that if you have to be in same network. Okay, so if you are not into the same network, you are not able to do connect to that or execute the particular vulnerability there. Okay, in, if that is physical, so physical means that it have to be touched manually. Okay, suppose you have to go to the computer or to the server manually by, you have to physically present there, and you have to be insert the code or execution whatever you're doing. Okay, so that is physical vector. So there is the attack vector. If you're doing from network, okay, so that way it is critical or worst condition. If it's adjacent, it is still worse. Okay, but if it is local or physical, okay, so that means that you can have to physically present to the spot or to the company or to the organization to implement the attack. Okay, so that is local and physical. So as it, Microsoft Outlook requires a network vector. Okay, so if we see, like the first thing is AV, attack vector. Okay, so that AV means attack vector, and it is mentioned to N. Okay, N mean network. If A is there, it is adjacent. If L is there, so it is local. If P is there, it is physical. Now we have to the complexity, attack complexity. Okay, so there is two option only, which is low and high. Okay, so what does mean by attack complexity? Okay, suppose you are executed a code, okay, to a server, okay, and it exploited easily. Okay, you got shell connection without interfering any. Okay, so the complexity will be low. If there is a high complexity, so what it have to be, like suppose you have executed a code, it have to be stored, suppose it have to be clicked by a user. Okay, so there is a user interaction required. Okay, so if the user or the victim click on that, after that the code execute to the server and it give you a shell. So there is a requirement of user interaction. If the user not able to click, not clicking on that particular thing, so it is not executing. So it depends on the complexity. Okay, so I'm choosing low. Similarly, you can see that there is attack complexity is AC, is L, low. Okay, which we already selected. Then there is requirement is privilege required. Privilege means that we need permission. Okay, suppose we know that if a login form is there, okay, it required username password. Okay, so it required authentication. Okay, so if your exploitation required a authentication, okay, if required authentication, the complexity of this privilege required be high. Okay, The attacker requires privilege that provides significant control over the vulnerable component, allowing access to component wide settings and files. So that means someone have to be clicked, or you have to be cookie. You have to be, you have to have the cookies from the victim. Okay. So if you don't have that, you are not able to authenticate that particular attack. Okay. If the attack, similar attack, doesn't require any authentication. Okay, so the login form is there, but it could be bypassed, or it could be like it doesn't require any login. Okay, so if there is unauthenticated thing, okay, then what will happen, that the privilege will be none or less. Okay, so that means the attack scenario is increased. Okay, so suppose there is n, privilege required is none. If you can see that in this Microsoft Outlook remote code execution vulnerability, the privilege required is none. So no user or no victim have to click anything or have to authenticate anything. Okay, so it means that there is no authentication required to execute this attack. Okay, then comes user interaction, or simply called UI interaction. Okay, so suppose you know that in a phishing attempt, okay, a mail comes and there is a link always. Okay, so if you click on that link, so your browser probably got hijacked. Okay, and your cookies will be stolen. It happens, we know that. So for that reason we have to click on that link. Okay, it's a phishing factor. But similar thing also happen in user interaction. Suppose you are able to uh, generate a cross-site scripting. Okay, but that cross-site scripting need to be validated by cookies. Okay, so if a user open that, okay, suppose I have sent you the malicious crafted link, okay, and you open that, okay, from your PC or your from mobile. Okay, so there is a user interaction required. So that means successful exploitation is required to by open someone. Okay, so if any person opens that, then the user interaction is required. Okay, if no interaction required, so it is be none. Okay, let's see what is there. See, the UI interaction is none. Okay, UI is none. UIN. Similarly, we have UIN here. Then there is scope. Okay, scope is like change and unchanged. Okay, suppose in scope, an exploited vulnerability can affect resource beyond the security scope managed by the security authority of the vulnerable component. Okay, and unchanged is like exploit vulnerability can only affect resource managed by the security authority. Okay, so what it does mean by that, suppose you have a dashboard. Okay, so in the dashboard section you can add uh, admin. Okay, you can add admin, you can fire employees. Okay, so that is a dashboard where you can do this job. Okay, so if this thing you can do only, like you can add admin, you can fire employee, or you can change password. Okay, so this feature if is there, okay, rather than you are not able to do any other things. Okay, so that means that have to be unchanged. Okay, unchanged means that you are not able to change any further security authority. Okay, or you are not able to do implement any other things what you have got into the request. Okay, so that is unchanged currently. But in changed section, okay, so you have this dashboard authority, but still with this you are able to do upload files. Okay, and uh, delete particular services. Okay, or you can do, like you can change banners or change or headers, anything. Okay, like you can change the codes, changing codes. Okay, you can do this, change codes. So that is then it will be have to be changed. Okay, so it means that if you are able to do more than you are able to do that, so that is have to be changed scope. Okay, means that there is a more authority to you have, that you can do anything into the particular server. Okay, so that is have to be changed. Similarly, we will look for that it have to be scope is unchanged. Okay, so we have choose changed. Okay, and unchanged, it could depend on the vulnerability. Okay, like it is unchanged means that this remote code execution vulnerability is maximum do to help you to send emails only. Okay, to a particular victim or particular attack path only. Okay, so that why it is unchanged. If this vulnerability allows you to send multiple emails in a one single remote code execution, then it have to be changed. Okay, so that's why they have chosen unchanged. Okay, we'll do choose unchanged as well. Now confidentiality. Okay, so the confidentiality is like you have a total loss of data. Okay, so that it will be high. If there is low confidentiality of data, so that is low. If there is no loss of confidentiality, so it have to be none. Okay, it depends. So we're sending it, setting is like high. Okay, it's similar to high. Then there is a integrity. Okay, so integrity means that there is a trust to a particular data asset. Okay, or to the protection that any data is lost, so the integrity would be very high. Okay, suppose you have stored public data which doesn't have to be shared, like you have stored voter id cards or any sort of national identity card, passports. Okay, so the integrity is high. So if the data loss or the total loss is full, okay, and the integrity is be high there. Okay, if there is less data, suppose you have only voter card, okay, or similarly like driving license only. Okay, so the integrity would be low. If there is nothing at all, okay, so this integrity have to be none. So I'm choosing is like high here. Okay, because is similar to high. Okay, so now integrity is high. Now the availability. Okay, so availability is means that suppose a website or a server contains a lot of data. Okay, so a server contains a lot of data set. Okay, suppose this each data set connected to each other. Okay, so they have a lot of servers. So if the first server is leaking, okay, only the first data server is leaking, so that means the loss is very low. Okay, but all of the threes are leaking together. Okay, the availability is like high. Okay, so that's how we have to decide what vulnerability category it have to be. So I choose high, so you can see that is 9.8. If I change the scope, you can see that is total 10.0. Okay, so if a CVSS score count as 10.0 by chance, okay, so then this criticality, the vulnerability scoring system, it defines as critical, but mostly the bug bounty or web pen testing community do mark it as exceptional. Okay, because 10.0 is very rare thing. Okay, still that it is critical. Like if it is 9.8 or 9.9, it is critical. Okay, if it is 10.0 or more than that, then it have to be exceptional. Okay, so if you change the attack vector, the score will be dropped. Okay, if you I choose add checker, it comes to 8.8. If I do local, it is 8.4. If it is physical, it will be 6.8. Then you can see the severity is also dropped, which is to medium. Okay, so that's how you can define the complexity of a vulnerability. Okay, so whenever we found a bug or a vulnerability, we have to define the score if requires. Okay, and we have to understood that how this vulnerability actually impacting the service or the organization. Okay, so we have to measure it by this calculator. So it helps us to get an overall idea that how the confidentiality, integrity, availabilities and loss and which vectors are we are using if there is insert interaction. Okay, so this will give us a idea that our vulnerability is critical, medium, high, low. Okay, and the severity score. Okay, it helps us to define to the bug bounty triagers or any web pen tester. So we can mention them that if they are doing wrong, that the vulnerability have to be in critical or something similar. Okay, so we can just talk with them like this. So that's why we need to understood how CVSS calculator works. Okay, I hope it is clear to everyone that how to measure CVSS scoring.
দাদা আমার একটা কোশ্চেন আছে,
হ্যাঁ
একটু
হ্যাঁ
ভিজিবল করেন ওটা,
হুম, বলো বলো।
ওটা একটু ভিজিবল করেন। হ্যাঁ, এখানে প্রথম, এখানে তো আমরা দুইটা পার্ট দেখতেছি। হ্যাঁ,
হুম,
প্রথম পার্টটাকে আমরা কি প্রায়োরিটি কোনটা বলতে পারি, সেকেন্ড পার্টটাকে আমরা প্রায়োরিটি কোনটা বলতে পারি?
প্রায়োরিটি বলতে
মানে ওই যে আপনি বাগ বাউন্টির ক্ষেত্রে যখন বললেন না,
হুম হুম হুম
পি
হুম।
ওয়ান, পি টু, পি
না,
থ্রি।
বাগ বাউন্টি বা সেরকম ক্ষেত্রে কিছুই না, ঠিক আছে? যে কোনো বাগ পাওয়া গেল, ঠিক আছে, সেই বাগটা কি করে ইম্প্যাক্ট করছে, ঠিক আছে, এটা বাগ বাউন্টি হোক বা ওপেন টেস্টিং হোক, কোনো ইয়ে করে না। তোমার সেই বাগটার যে ইমপ্লিকেশনটা হবে সেটা তোমাকে এখানে ডিফাইন করে নিতে হবে যে তুমি যে রিপোর্ট বানাচ্ছ সেই রিপোর্টে তুমি কি সেভারিটি দিবে বা কি স্কোর দিবে সেটাকে, সেটা এভাবে ডিফাইন করে নিতে হবে এখানে আগে, যে বাগটা তুমি পেয়েছো।
ওকে।
ওটা বাগ বাউন্টি হোক বা ওয়েব পেন টেস্টিং হোক, ওটা কোনো যায় আসে না, ঠিক আছে? একটা ভালনারেবিলিটি যখন পাচ্ছি, তো সেইটাকে আমাদেরকে ডিফাইন করতে হবে যে এটা আমার সেভারিটি কি, আমার স্কোর কি, আর এটার ভেক্টর কি হবে, ঠিক আছে? এটা ডিফাইন করতে হবে আমাদেরকে।
ওকে ওকে।
Does anyone have any doubts? Ashwin, Opemi,
So no doubts. Thank you.
So the
is it okay? Not understood. What is?
yes, sir, understood. Sir.
Okay, okay, great. So the CVSS calculator help you to define, to understand what is the vulnerability type, the severity, and the score. Okay. So just do practice on severity things. Okay. So choose, suppose you got some other severity like 21411. Okay. Suppose you have changed to other CVE. Okay. Skype for consumer remote code execution vulnerability. Okay. So in Skype, there is also RCE, which recently released. Okay. So it is like 8.8 high. Okay. And the vector is mentioned here. Okay. The score is mentioned here. And the severity is also mentioned here. So that's how we have to analyze the vulnerability what we have found. Okay. If it is affecting more, then it is be critical. If it is affecting less, then it have to be low or medium, or sometimes informational as well. Okay. So if I choose everything to low, 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 okay. See the it will be like none, 0.0. If you report this type of bugs, none type of bugs, okay, which doesn't have any score, so it will be marked as informational or NA. Okay. Suppose you have marked something like low, okay, still it marked be NA informational. Okay. At least try to generate a severity above 3.0. Okay. So if you have a 3.0 above severity, then it will be accepted to bug bounty platforms. Okay. But if you are doing VAPT or web pen testing, it doesn't define anything. Okay. You can report anything in VAPT reports. Okay. Suppose you have got some informational topics too, you can report that as well. Okay. So in VAPT, we are doing project for a company, not a bug bounty job there. Okay. So that have to be fixed and patched. Okay, because it is a security measure. Suppose you have found a vulnerability which doesn't consider it as a bug, but still you have to patch this on VAPT side. Okay, so the job have to be done on a VAPT part, but not in a BB or bug bounty. They won't treat you very well there. Okay, so suppose you are reporting something low, like 1.6 score. Okay, so they didn't give a anything to you. So that is CVSS scoring. After the CVSS scoring, we have to use Burp Suite. Okay. So in Burp Suite, we have to know few things in Burp Suite, that what we can do with the Burp Suite thing. Okay. Let's You can use community edition of Burp Suite, or you can use a crack version of Burp Suite for professional one. Okay, if you want to use, but would suggest don't use professional. Okay, if you are using, um, if you're doing bug bounty very frequently, don't use crack version of professional version. Okay, it leads to something like ban on programs. Okay, do use community edition to produce the vulnerability. Okay, so let me, I'll give you the link about the professional one. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I've shared the BuzzFeed complete codes there already. Okay, you can do study about that. Still, I will give you a quick interview that after opening the BuzzFeed Professional, okay, you will get a interface like this or UI like this. So here you can do live audit through BuzzFeed. Similarly, if you use the tool like Acumenetics, Invicti, NetSparker, okay, like this. So similarly, Bubsuite also offer a automatic scanner, okay, where you can do scan. Suppose you click on new and scan, there is option for crawl and audit. Okay, you have to put the URL, and you have to set the scan configuration. Okay, after that, if the application required a login panel, okay, or like user password, so you have to mention that too. Then you can put it in a scan. Okay, so Bubsuite do the job as well for automated scanning. So there is proxy. So the proxy actually intercept the connection between client and the server. Okay. So if a client means the browser sending a request to a server, so that request could be captured by this buff suite. And if server is sending a response, so that response could be captured with the buff suite as well. Okay. So it is like a traffic interceptor. Like if you going through traffic, so you know that there is a red light or green light, so it is also do act similar to that. Okay, so there is intruder. So from intruder you can do initiate some like DDoS sort of attack. Okay, or you can say that you can send multiple requests to a particular response or request. Okay, so that is intruder. Repeater is like you can store your request for a long time for practicing things. Then there is collaborator. Okay, collaborator help gives you an external service via DNS, HTTP, or SMTP, which help you to get or like if you have found SSRF at SSRF, or you're like you want to take over some cookies from some victim and all, so it will help you to give that as a collaborator action. Okay, then there is a decoder. So suppose you have some sort of thing like you have some message and all, so you can decode that, encode that to URL base 64 HTML and all. Okay, so there are extensions available as well. So extension is like there is, you can install some tools from BAP store. Okay, so there are like a lot of tools like 403 bypasser. Okay, there is ACE payload. There is a lot of tools are there for in using in weapon testing or bug bounty. Or okay, so that is a actual overview of above switch. Now comes to the topic. mm, okay, so we'll do JS enumeration today. Okay, So we're gonna set some automation. As the automation is also running for let me see it. Where is it? Okay, leave it. Not doing a JSON manipulation today. Just will continue with the response manipulation. Will be best. Stop. Okay. So there are like a lot of bugs available, or you can say present in the market. Okay. So we have to define it. Okay. So in bug bounty, if we want to earn quickly, okay, suppose you want to earn very quickly bug bounty, then what you have to do is you have to play your brain. Okay. So what you can do is you can do for low hanging bugs. Okay. So low hanging bugs are very low category bugs. Okay, so these bugs mostly often got duplicate or mostly got reported by others. Okay, so there is a chance okay there are race condition. Okay, there is like file sensitive file exposure. File exposure. So these are some of the name from low hanging bugs, that rate limit, response manipulation, risk condition. Okay. So that is some of categories like P3 or P4 category bugs. Okay. Or sometimes P5 as well, because those got denied it by the companies. Okay. So suppose rate limit. Okay. In the rate limit, what we have to understood is today we're gonna understand about only the rate limit one. Okay, rate limit bug. So what is rate limit? Do you guys know? Okay. So let me explain that rate limit bug, okay, are often founded, okay, where in login pages and sign up pages. A login page, sign up page, okay, in forget password page, okay, forget password page. So this find often on this login, sign up, and forget password pages. So with the rate limit, what we can achieve? Okay. So in rate limit, we can send multiple SMS, okay, multiple SMS, email, okay, multiple forgot password page or password email, okay, verification email multiple times, okay, and a lot of things like OTPs. Okay. So we can do achieve a lot of things